tension lingers between the United States and Iran as deadly protests have sparked against the current regime. Joining us now to explain the latest in this conflict, foreign policy expert Ron Bee. Ron, good morning, and thank you for being here.
Good morning, Shelley.
U.S. officials warning all options yesterday are on the table when talking about the stopping of the killing of people in Iran. How do you think that message is now being received by the regime?
Well, I'm sure that they're taking it seriously because President Trump has said even more than that. He said help is on the way, and he said that we're going to do something to help the protesters. He usually follows through on what he promises.
He said help is on the way, but then a few days later came back and said that the killing has stopped, and it made it appear to many that maybe military intervention is now off the table.
He's a good card player, and let's remember that there were plans for Venezuela 4 months before it actually happened.
The U.S. is sending a carrier strike group to the area. That news broke over the past week.
USS Abraham Lincoln, which is based in San Diego.
What does that mean?
What that means is the president is showing force and support for the protesters while also backing up his word to send military force if and when necessary. I think it's becoming necessary to do something over the weekend because of the promises that have been made publicly.
You think this is the weekend?
I think it's or soon thereafter, if not this weekend, because 2,500 protesters have been killed. Another 10,000 have been arrested. The internet has shut down. So how long is this going to go on before something happens?
Those numbers are confirmed, and I could tell you that unconfirmed, that 2,500 is at least 20,000. Some are saying it's even more than that. That 10,000 protesters arrested is almost 18,000. And that internet that you bring up also, Ron, which is very interesting because this is the longest blackout Iran has put on its people, and there's a reason for that. And some news coming out today that they want to extend this into the spring, keep that blackout until spring, which is March.
Yeah, the first thing to go is press and public information when there's suppression and something happening against civil rights of a people.
Yesterday.
Other part of this is that, you know, this is the biggest protest since the 47 years of the Islamic regime. So over 100 cities, all 31 provinces have had protests. And so one other thing that's different, an American president has said that he's going to act on behalf of the protesters. So this also encourages more protests.
Let's talk about the American president. Yesterday, Iranian officials, I mean, they've been threatening the president for quite some time, but there was a threat yesterday that was very aggressive of what they want to do. There have been multiple ones, pictures from the recent attempted assassination that this time we won't miss, to yesterday mentioning that, you know, we're going to cut his hand off.
Well, what do you think the president's going to do? Back off? I don't think so. I think he's going to respond in the way he has before, and that is to deal with the situation in front of him, which is to assist the protesters in the best way possible. Has to go after the Revolutionary Guard Corps, has to go after their thugs, the Basij. He has to go after the law enforcement that has been arresting and murdering protesters. Now, one could also argue that the Israelis have an interest in what's going on here and that there might be some coordination at very high levels on this.
We're seeing some commercial ships, from what we understand, that are docked outside of Iran. What is the significance of commercial ships being there?
Well, it's, not just sitting there, basically not doing anything because they expect something to happen. That's one thing that I could read into it. Or they've been told to stay away because something may be happening that will affect their shipping lanes. So I think that it's just another indicator that things are really bad for the Islamic regime, and at the moment we're all anticipating some sort of action by the United States and perhaps others on behalf of the protesters.
We've seen some of these protests, and we're reporting it. They've slowed down a little bit, and especially in the past 24 hours. Why would that be?
Well, because people are getting shot. You know, people are reorganizing, figuring out what to do now that so many people have been arrested and killed. Now, the question is whether or not the gallantry, the bravery remains and people go back to the streets. And we also, because we don't have information coming out of Iran that you and I can see, we don't know if that's actually true, that the protests have slowed down.
And the little information that does make it out of Iran, I mean, this needs to be confirmed, but it does look like some of the protests, I mean, they're spread out, but they're still happening.
They're still happening, and why wouldn't they? Young people want to have a future in this country, and and also the businessmen want to have a future. It started in the business class at the bazaar, and now has spread back to the youth who want to have a better future.
New sanctions on Iran, what will it do to an already non-existent economy?
Just put more pressure on the Iranian regime. As you know, the rial has lost half of its value over the last year. It's over 1 million rials for $1 right now. It also means that they will not be able to sell their oil, and 80 to 90% of that goes to China anyway. So we get a twofer on that. So the issue for Iran is, do they want to move forward in a more democratic future, or are they going to remain the repressive regime that they have for the last 47 years?
And your guess, as we wrap this up, would be something is going to happen very soon?
My guess is something's going to happen, at least on behalf of the protesters. Whether or not that topples the regime, that's another question.
Rambi, we appreciate your time.